Tracking, alerting, protecting. This is WKYT News at 5:30.
We're tracking the latest in a school shooting out of Louisville, sending one student to the hospital.
It's been nearly 3 months since a Pulaski County man died, the victim of an apparent hit and run. His family is still looking for answers.
And the next thing I know, the cab of the engine is tilting back up into the driver's side in the air.
2 Eastern Kentucky firefighters are recovering after their fire truck fell through a bridge and into a creek.
WKYT News at 5:30 starts now. Parents scrambled to find their kids after a student opened fire at a Louisville high school today. It happened shortly after 1 o'clock this afternoon at Fern Creek Traditional High School.
It is about southeast of downtown near the Gene Snyder Freeway there in Louisville. Police say one student shot another inside a classroom. The shooter has since been caught. WKYT's Victor Puente is live at Fern Creek High School with the latest in our top story at 5:30. Victor?
There were dozens of Louisville police officers and SWAT team members here when we arrived. Since then, there's been a steady flow of students and police leaving Fern Creek High School. The school was on lockdown this afternoon after a student was shot. Students who were near the shooting tell me the victim wasn't the intended target, but was simply in the wrong place at the wrong time. He was taken to University Hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. The school was surrounded by police who shut down the roads in this area. Louisville police began searching for the suspect, who was another student, and around 4:15 told us they had him in custody. They aren't releasing his identity. A school spokesperson tells us they're planning to have counselors and support here tomorrow for any students who need it. They also told us the school system would be reviewing their procedures to make sure the administration here did everything they were supposed to in the moments after that shooting. Live in Louisville, Victor Puente, WKYT.
Victor, thank you. Police say the student who was shot was reunited with his parents at the hospital.
A Southern Kentucky family wants some answers nearly 3 months after a man was hit, killed, and left on the side of the road. Ricky Meredith was found in a ditch line along Kentucky 452 in Pulaski County. Police believe a driver hit him and then took off. WKYT's Phil Pendleton talked with Meredith's mother, who wants answers and justice for her son's death.
No, that won't bring him back.
Betty Lois Jones says she has nightmares about what happened to her son, Ricky Meredith.
I mean, he's pulled so much out of me. I haven't been able to eat right, sleep right.
Meredith was walking along Kentucky 452 either late on July 6th or early on the 7th when police believe someone hit him and took off.
If they'd come forward, let themselves be known, I wouldn't hate them. No. I'd ask God to save them and ask God to bring them down where they wouldn't destroy somebody else's life. That's all I would ask.
Meredith's body lay in a ditch for several days until he was spotted by a paving crew.
I can't understand people, but they just don't realize what all they have pulled and what all they really took out of this old mother.
Police say they believe that Meredith died the result of injuries to his shoulder and his neck. They say that it's possible that he may have already been laying in the roadway when he was struck. They also say it's possible the driver may not face any charges. But Jones does not believe this was any accident. She's almost certain a crime was committed. Police say they're not sure if the driver saw Meredith or knew he was in the roadway. Still, they say the driver needs to come forward. Jones says she needs that for peace of mind.
Just come forward and let it be known who done it.
Police say they followed several leads, but they've all become dead ends.
But only God knows. He sees and hears everything.
In Pulaski County, Phil Pendleton, WKYT.
Police say the driver who hit Ricky Meredith at the least could face charges of leaving the scene of an accident.
In our county-by-county coverage at 5:30, we are tracking stories in Martin and Floyd counties. We begin in Martin County. That's where 2 firefighters say they are lucky to be alive after a bridge collapsed beneath them. It happened yesterday in the Warfield community of Martin County. Rhonda Estep and Gregory Alley were in the department's main fire engine when they tried to cross a bridge on Blackburn Cemetery Road. The bridge collapsed, sending the fire truck into the creek.
The next thing I know, the cab of the engine is tilting back up into the driver's side in the air, and A little blurry after that. I mostly remember red lights, hillside, and then water rushing into the cab of the engine.
Both firefighters made it out with the help of other first responders and suffered just some non-life-threatening injuries. Fire officials said that the truck cannot be repaired. Combined with the loss of equipment in the collapse, the department is out about $300,000. In Floyd County, Prestonsburg police are looking for an escaped inmate. 18-year-old Jeremiah Vance escaped while being transported from the Floyd County Detention Center to the Pike County Detention Center this afternoon. Officers say Vance was in jail for fleeing or evading charges and was being transported to Pike County for charges of wanton endangerment there.
A missing woman was found alive inside the trunk of a car in Louisville, thanks to some good Samaritans. Now authorities want to know what happened and who put Andrea Stone there. Two women were walking past the car on Monday when they could hear someone banging on the trunk. They kept walking, but called 911. Then minutes later, they came back towards the car, and another person was at the car.
One of the males said that she said she couldn't breathe. So at that time, I got scared. 911 still hadn't arrived. So I ran across the street, got a brick, threw the brick through the passenger window.
The woman was supposed to pick her daughter up from class on Friday, but she never showed up. When she was found yesterday, she was in the trunk of her daughter's car, which Stone was last seen driving in. Stone doesn't remember what happened. Police believe she was hit in the head. She's at the University of Louisville Hospital. As the work week continues, we continue to see some more great weather out there.
Yeah, but this weekend isn't looking so great. Chief Meteorologist Chris Bailey is here now, tracking some big-time changes heading our way. Chris?
Yeah, we told you about this last week. We simply just can't keep riding the gravy train all the way through October as those changes show up in a couple of days. So let's soak up what we have out there now. What we have on our live sky cam, a little more in the way of some clouds beginning to show up across central and northern Kentucky. There's a hint of some haze showing just how warm those temperatures have been over the past couple of days. Normal highs this time of year, 70 to 75, so low 80s this afternoon above normal. High cloud cover on that northern horizon ahead of a very weak front that isn't producing precipitation. Life First Alert Defender says really nothing to worry about if you're heading out and about this evening. That's a good thing if you like to get out and check out some of those early fall colors. Some of those showing up here not too far away from Stanford in Lincoln County. You see some of the maroons, some of the oranges, the golds beginning to show themselves now. And the deeper we get into October, the more fall colors you're going to be noticing. Weather headlines, nice for a couple more days before those big changes blow in. Guys, I'm tracking a November cold front that kicks off our first weekend of October. We'll show you some numbers. May chill you down a little bit. That's just ahead.
Sounds interesting, Chris. Thank you. A Bates security driver was taken to the hospital after a two-car collision this afternoon here in Lexington. We're told that a Mustang was on the outer loop of Man-O-War Boulevard with a green light, and witnesses say the Bates security car turned right on red. The Mustang rear-ended that security car, causing it to jump the median and hit a light pole on the other side of the road. No tickets were issued. The Bates security driver was taken to the hospital just to be checked out.
One of our viewers wants to know more about a scam that begins with the ring of your phone. Patsy in Richmond says, yesterday I received a phone call and my name and phone number showed on caller ID. We answered and it was a robocall about reducing my credit card rate. Was told to press 2. We hung up. The Better Business Bureau of Central Kentucky and Eastern Kentucky says this is a trick. If you see an unfamiliar phone number, you're less likely to answer it. The newest twist is your number shows up when the phone rings. Heather Clary of the BBB says this is a new ID technology used by scammers called spoofing. They use a number familiar to you or even your own number. Now, Clary says there are 3 steps. First, hang up. Do not press any buttons. Don't return the scammer's call if they leave voicemail. Second, don't trust caller ID. You've got to be really careful these days. And if you do not initiate the call, never give out any financial information. If you have a good question, go to WKYT.com.
I'm Bill Bryant. Congressman Andy Barr says he would not change the wording on mailers that he sent out at taxpayers' expense, even if he could. The bottom line is ahead.
And charges are pending in connection with Sunday's shots fired incident. 4 UK football players named in that incident. Coming up on WKYT News at 6, you'll hear from a former Lexington police detective about the consequences of having BB guns on campus.
Follow WKYT online at WKYT.com. Join the conversation on Twitter and become a part of the WKYT Facebook family.
Could it be the odds of Republicans winning the Senate majority are growing?
And Congressman Andy Barr defending his criticized mailers that were sent out to taxpayers. WKYT's Bill Bryant has that and more in the bottom line.
Good evening. As we head into October, national political prognosticator Charlie Cook says Republicans are likely to hold an advantage heading into this year's midterm Senate elections. In a nationally published article featuring a picture of Kentucky Senator Mitch McConnell today, Cook says there's a 60% chance that Republicans will pick up enough seats to gain the majority in the Senate. But national Democrats are redoubling their efforts on behalf of challenger Allison Lundergan Grimes with a new statewide TV buy, and Grimes continues a multi-track approach in her own ads, criticizing McConnell and trying to appeal to voters to support her. 6th District Congressman Andy Barr, who's running for re-election for the first time, is defending mailers that were sent out from his office at taxpayers' expense. He's a Republican. His Democratic opponent, Elizabeth Jensen, says the mailers went over the line between being informational and amounted to promotional material for Barr. But Barr pushes back hard, saying his mailings were approved by a commission in Washington. Would you adjust the content of those mailings if you had it to do over?
No, the content of the mailings were approved by a bipartisan commission. What we're doing is we're giving our constituents information about the services that they can access through our office. Overwhelming positive feedback from our constituents. They like the communication. They want more of it, not less.
Barr is the guest on this weekend's edition of Kentucky Newsmakers. Jensen appeared a couple of weeks ago. As Kentucky Senator Rand Paul explores a run for the White House, the New Yorker publishes an 11,000-word profile of the Kentucky Republican. Paul continues his extensive travel into early and key presidential states, while also insisting he will seek a second term as a U.S. Senator. California today became the first state in the nation to ban single-use plastic bags. Some are warning that will have negative consequences for business. More on that later from CBS. Bill Bryant, WKYT.